So here we go. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers, and this was always sort of our hunch. I said from the beginning I thought he would stay. I didn't think he wanted to be a villain. Green Bay is a well-run organization. 4-year deal, $200 million. That's the story. Ton of it, $153 million guaranteed. So that helps the cap, meaning he won't be a prodigious cap hit. He makes a bunch of money. So my first takeaway is, this is what I kept saying, that I thought the other choices, I thought Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Denver were very interesting options. But all of them had something I didn't like about them. Denver, good God, you got to play Mahomes twice, Derek Carr twice, and Justin Herbert twice a year. 6 games against 3 of the best quarterbacks. That's just every year. That'd be like being in the SEC and having Alabama twice a year. Do I have to? Can I get them a season with no Alabama occasionally? I don't want to play them twice a year. So that part, to me, I didn't like. Pittsburgh, I love Mike Tomlin. O-line's bad, and how many offensive coordinators have they whiffed on? They got another bad one. Tennessee, well, they are a mile deep into that Ryan Tannehill contract, so even if Aaron came and Tannehill was traded, you're stuck with Tannehill's contract for 2 years. Even if you make the trade move to June or July or whatever the date is, you still have to, over 2 years, pay Aaron and Tannehill. So this was the one that made the most sense, even though I thought Pittsburgh, Denver, Tennessee were all interesting, solid options. But let's think about why Aaron stayed. Number one, and you know this, I know this, the NFC North is a mess. Chicago's in a rebuild. Detroit's in a constant rebuild. Minnesota has regressed badly. Okay, the NFC now that Breeze, Sean Payton, and Brady are gone, that thing is wide open. NFC is wide open outside of the Rams, who we think they're going to be good for the next several years. He also likes his head coach, and he's got an offensive head coach. That matters. His coach is not only generationally of the same age, they like the same music, they like the same stuff, they can kind of connect. That matters. It matters. Vic Fangio's 70. Aaron Rodgers is young. That probably, we know this to be true, is that generally, generationally, if you kind of like the same stuff, you get along with people. Most of your friends are the same age, right, or close. So we know that old defensive coaches are not the trend in the NFL. Now, Nathaniel Hackett may have been good at Denver, but the point is a lot of things worked in Green Bay. It also lets Aaron, who's a little petty, say, Jordan Love pick. That was a massive waste of a pick. He kind of wins that. Green Bay drafts and develops very well. They always have. They've always had great offensive lines. This is a good organization. The grass is not always greener. Okay, it's not. A lot of people move, and it's never the same. They move in my business. They move in your business. The grass is no always greener. The Packers have developed Super Bowl champions with Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. It is viewed as a very good drafting and developing franchise. Yes, there's a hole in Green Bay. They don't attract free agents. If I was an NFL player, probably would not be my first choice. And they don't have an owner. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But Tennessee had an issue. Ryan Tannehill's contract. Pittsburgh has one. They can't get the OC right. Denver had one. Brutal division. And you don't know if Nathaniel Hackett can coach. Nobody has any idea. We thought Vic Fangio could coach. He could. Wrong side of the ball in 2022. So I look at this thing. You don't have to be best friends. I think what this proves is you don't have to be best friends and agree on everything to work. Brady Belichick did not have dinner in 20 years. One time. Bradshaw and Chuck Noll didn't see eye to eye. Aikman and Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl together. Not exactly bosom buddies. Bruce Arians and Brady, generationally, the way they view offense, totally different dudes. They won a Super Bowl together. You don't have to be best friends. Not everything has to be agreed upon. We all know that. I mean, look at our politics. Everybody's like this and that. I'm an independent. Some social stuff, I'm a liberal. Some business stuff, I'm a conservative. You don't have to be all one thing. I don't have to agree with a candidate on every policy to vote for him for governor or senator. I don't have to agree on everything. Do I think most of it works? Most of Green Bay and Aaron works. The division's bad. The coach is young and offensive-minded. They draft offensive lines and develop them pretty well. He's got good weapons. Not as good as Tennessee. Not as good as Pittsburgh, in my opinion. Not as good as Denver. But they're good enough to be a number one seed. He's got a great fan base. He's got plenty of commercials in Green Bay. He'd make more if he quarterbacked for the Rams. LeBron's doubled his net worth in, 4 years in Los Angeles. Joe Burrow would make, I was told by an agent, Joe Burrow would make over $150 million more if he played for an LA team over a Cincinnati team over the course of his career. He's got a big personality. He'd lean into it. But you know what? State Farm, Izod, Aaron's doing just fine, and the contract is massive. There is some dispute on how big the contract is. It does make him the highest paid in the NFL. Whatever, I don't care. The bottom line here is they gave him so much guaranteed money, it's not going to be a punitive cap hit. That's actually pretty good. I think more teams should do that. If I was the Seahawks, I would look at Russell Wilson after this contract and say, I'd pay Russell money. Kyler Murray drives me nuts sometimes, but I'd probably pay him the money. Pay it guaranteed. Lower the cap hit. Maybe that's the new trend. Maybe this is the frontier now. Give these quarterbacks $150 million. Keep the cap hit really low. That seems to be the trend. Of the top 10 cap hits at quarterback last year, the top 10, only one Patrick Mahomes won a playoff game. So in the end, the grass isn't always greener. It's a well-run organization. It's a lousy division. He's got compatibility with a lot of the pieces, and I give Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers credit. They've been thinking about this thing for a year. And Green Bay, the world is changing in the NFL. The best quarterback won every division in the NFL last year. I couldn't tell you the last time that happened. I mean, quarterbacks always mattered. Now, the best quarterback won every division. An offensive coach was in every NFC playoff team. Every single one. Every NFC playoff team. Even the ones we don't know if we like, Nick Sirianni, got to the playoffs. What I worry about in the NFL is Mike Tomlin. Does he connect with offensive coordinators? Pete Carroll feels outdated. Vic Fangio gone. Mike Zimmer. I don't think they're incompetent. The world is changing, and I don't think they're embracing it. It reminds me of college basketball years ago when the one and done about 10 years ago became a thing, and guys like Bobby Knight are like, I refuse. Bobby Knight, irrelevant since then. Coach K initially didn't want it. Just read his book. Then Coach K said, I'm losing to all these teams that are embracing the one and none. So Mike Krzyzewski said, I'm going to embrace the one and none. So the world is changing in football. Quarterback's always been important. It's about 80% of it now. And Aaron's got a young offensive coach in a bad division. Schematically, they don't feel outdated. I don't know if Matt LaFleur is great, but he's certainly competent. You don't know if Nathaniel Hackett's going to work in Denver. We have no idea. I thought Vic Fangio had a chance to work. We got no idea. 75% of these young coordinators get the job, and they're done in 5 years. So there you go. For the record, full disclosure, this is not necessarily great for me because I think the story would have been far more interesting elsewhere, but I still guessed he would stay in Green Bay. But it is great for the company I work for called Fox because, man, oh, man, there's a lot of great quarterbacks in the AFC, and a lot of the great ones are retiring or moving in the NFC. So it's nice to have Aaron back for our business. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.